And if you don't know our business, years ago, the number one complaint from our biggest customers was heat in the kitchen. How can we get the heat out of the kitchen? Well, we were challenged. And so I think it was 2008, 2009, that the team here invented very successfully our ventilation system. And what it does is it captures the heat and keeps it in the oven instead of letting it spill out in a traditional kitchen where you have a hood up here. Everybody's seen them, and it's called an open cap hood. And so what happens in that environment is you have people walking past, and you have air conditioners running over here and equipment running over there, and that heat just spills out. And so what do you do to keep it from spilling out? Well, you turn up the fan speed, and so you create more CFM, more cubic feet per minute. When you do that, now you're moving more hot air into the kitchen, not just from the oven, but in the summertime, you're pulling it from the outside. Air's got to come from somewhere. And they make these conditioners, makeup air units, they call them, that condition the air before you suck it into the restaurant. Well, still, the life of a cubic foot of conditioned air that you paid for, the life of that in a pizzeria might be a matter of 2 or 3 minutes. What do? Bring the air in from the outside, you pay money to cool it, then you introduce it into the kitchen, and it finds its way to that hood, and it goes out, right? So the standard CFM in a traditional pizza shop might be 3,000 to 4,000 cubic feet per minute. And along the way, all of your machines are cycling more often. Your air conditioning cycling more often. Your make table is that, the compressors are cycling more often to try and compensate for that heat that's in the kitchen. Well, what we did was we stabilized everything. We stopped that big, massive flow, and we did it by shielding the oven from the rest of the kitchen. You still have access to put food on and take food off, but we shielded that so we don't have the spillage. And so we reduced CFMs by anywhere from 30 to 50 to 60%. And that will slow down all the cycling of the air conditioning, saves energy. The makeup air unit saves energy. The compressor on the make table saves energy. All the refrigeration that's cycling to try and fight that heat, we've stabilized that kitchen, and we've lowered the temperature. So we took the heat out of the kitchen, or we contained it. And at the same time, when you reduce that cycling, you reduce your load on your electricity. And so all of that says green, but it also, over a 10-year period could mean $20,000 to $50,000 to the bottom line for a pizzeria, depending on the size and the scope of the business. If it's a 2 or 3 stack oven, it's over 10 years, it's probably going to save $40,000, $50,000. And you have to consider everything. It's not just the electricity, it's the comfort for the team players that are working in that environment, because there's high turnover. Nobody wants to work in a hot kitchen. So you invest the money to train them for 3 months, and they stick around, they start working their tails off, and they sweat, and then they get an offer to go down the street and work in an air-conditioned shop. And they say, you know what, I've had enough of this. And off they go. So you lost all the training investment, you lost the expertise, and now you've created another cost and having to replace them. So how do you capture that cost? Who knows? But just from a bottom line perspective, if you take the CFMs, then there's a multiplier, there's a rule of thumb. It's $2 per CFM per year. So if you reduce it by 1,000, multiply that times 2, that's your bottom line, direct savings